Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Aya, great. Aya responded and she can hear me. What about Hamza and Muhammad? Yes, Hamza and Muhammad. Can you hear me? Muhammad said yes. Hamza, I think since two can hear me, but the others can hear me. خلاص, okay. It's now 7 and 3 minutes. Okay, great. Let's start. As it was written on the group, we're going to take the electrolysis. طبعا it's not all the electrolysis. في عندنا electricity and chemistry، في عندنا the redox part، وعندنا ال application of electrolysis. النهاردة بس هناخد ال electrolysis. Can you see my screen? I shared the notes. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. طيب عندنا في الفيرست بارت هنا introduction صغيرة. طبعا أول حاجة لازم نكون عارفينها السيلابس الobjectives. انتوا grade 10 ولا 9؟ Okay, I grade 10. محمد and حمزة. طيب anyways أكيد أنتوا عارفين طبعا إنه الكور for grade 9 و grade 10 both core and supplement. أهم حاجة بالذات لجريد 10، طبعا لجريد 9 بس بالذات لجريد 10 whenever you're done with the topic you have to read the syllabus. طبعا new syllabus اللي هو 2023. خلوا بالكم you have to make sure that you understand every objective and every objective is covered. For the part that we're going to take today, these are the objectives. بس part of electrolysis. طيب عندي introduction الأول conductors and insulators. What's the meaning of conductors? Conductors, do you know? It's okay if you open the mic and answer. It's okay with me. إحنا بس we're three students here.
Substances that allow electricity to pass through easily.
Excellent. Substances that allow electricity to pass through them. Examples عندنا طبعا metals، عندنا graphite من non-metals، وكمان we have ionic compounds. But let's stop here. Any ionic compound can conduct electricity. يعني مثلا solid ionic compounds, can they conduct electricity? Can solid ionic compounds conduct electricity? Okay, no. One of you wrote the answer no. Why they do not conduct electricity? Because they do not have freely moving ions. Which type of ionic compounds can conduct electricity? The molten or the aqueous? Aqueous means dissolved in water. But I have now the conductors that allow the passage of electricity, metals, graphite, and molten or aqueous ionic compounds. في هنا بقى بس examples و uses، كل ده سهل ما فيهوش أي مشكلة. بعد كده عندنا ال insulators. Insulators are the substances that do not allow the passage of electricity. نيجي بقى للجزء المهم electrolysis. What's the meaning of the word electrolysis? Electro means electricity. Lysis means breaking down. So electrolysis means breaking down of a compound by passing electricity through it. The question is, any compound? No, not any compound. It should be a compound that can conduct electricity. يعني it's not important to be only ionic compounds. هو mainly طبعا ionic compounds. بس مثلا I have water. Water can be electrolyzed, can be broken down into its ions, H positive and OH negative. So the meaning of electrolysis is the breaking down of some compounds by passing electricity through their molten or solution. Solution means aqueous form. And a chemical reaction takes place. This definition has 2 marks. One mark is breaking down by passing electricity. Second mark is for the molten or aqueous solution. Then we have the electrolytic cell. أنا دلوقتي هروح للوايت بورد. Okay. I have electrolysis of, we said, molten ionic compounds or aqueous ionic compounds. Again, aqueous means dissolved in water. Okay. I will start with the molten ionic compound. This is my electrolytic cell. This part is easy. Don't worry about it. بس في details شوية كتير. We're going to discuss all the details together. This is my electrolytic cell. كل السيل دي اسمها على بعضها كل ال parts that I'm going to draw now electrolytic cell. طيب ليه electrolytic cell? Because this is the place where electrolysis takes place. Okay. This is my battery. I have battery here. The long part is the positive pole, and the short part is the negative pole of the battery. But this is my battery. The X is the lamp or bulb, whatever. Both are correct. These are electrodes, graphite electrodes. Why graphite? Why these electrodes? Electrodes يعني two plates. Why these electrodes are made up of graphite? Why did I choose graphite? Who knows?
Because it conducts electricity well.
Very good. بس مش ده بس السبب. هو this is one of the reasons. But there is
Unreactive.
another. Excellent. Exactly. Inert or unreactive. فبالتالي when I start my electrolysis, it will not interfere. It will not take part in my reaction. And the second reason, of course, conducts electricity. طيب. I have two electrodes. The one that's connected to the positive pole of the battery is called the anode. And the one that's connected to the negative pole of the battery is called the cathode. وعشان ما تهش وما نساهمش با. يعني ايه با؟ positive anode. يعني الانود هو ال positive electrode والكاثود هو ال negative electrode. Any questions up till this point? Okay. I'm going to put here my sodium chloride. I'm going to start my electrolysis with molten sodium chloride. مين أكتبها هنا؟ molten sodium chloride. Okay. Molten sodium chloride has two ions. These ions are sodium ion and chloride ion. طبعا in normal cases I usually ask the students and they answer. بس انتوا تقريبا مكسوفين محرجين مايك مش شغال no problem for now. طيب اوكي. يبقى أنا عندي هنا I'm going to start heating my sodium chloride. ليه؟ لأن أصلا الصوديوم chloride it's a solid. But the solid ionic compounds will not conduct electricity as we said because they do not have free ions. So I'm going to heat using electric heater. And we will discuss now why electric heater. Electric heater will make the sodium chloride melt and change to liquid. يبقى دلوقتي I have two ions here. Sodium ion and chloride ion. According to the attraction, opposite attracts each other. So which one of them will be attracted to the anode? The chloride or the sodium ion? Which one will be attracted to the anode? The sodium ion or the chloride ion? Hello? Anyone? طيب, okay. The chloride ion will be attracted to the anode. ليه؟ لأن chloride has a negative charge and the anode is positively charged. While the sodium ion is going to be attracted to the cathode. لأن الكاثود is negatively charged and the sodium is positively charged. طيب, what is going to happen? هنا بقى we have series of questions. First question, they will ask you about the half ionic equation. طيب at the anode what will happen? The chloride ion is going to lose electron forming chlorine molecule. But wait, what I wrote is not correct chemically. ليه بقى؟ لأن الكلورين is a molecule, diatomic molecule. It exists in nature as molecule chlorine. We don't have Cl only in nature, never. يبقى ده معناه إن two chloride ions will lose 2 electrons forming chlorine gas at the anode. طيب, what about the cathode? What is the half ionic equation at the cathode? It will be about the sodium ion. Sodium ion is going to gain electron forming sodium atom. طيب, why they are losing or gaining? هو أنا أصلاً إيه المين objective بتاعي من electrolysis? My main objective from electrolysis is to break down ionic compound into its elements. أرجعهم تاني للelements بتاعتهم. يعني صوديوم كلورايد أنا عايزة صوديوم alone and chlorine gas alone. فبقى I will pass electricity which breaks them down into their elements. تمام؟ Okay. طيب. الكلورايد بما إنه negative, I'm repeating again, is going to be attracted to the anode and it's going to lose its electrons. While the sodium is going to gain electrons. طبعا to balance لأن عندي هنا 2 electrons فيبقى 2, 2, 2, but this is not our point now. Now I have chlorine molecule, sodium as metal. Another question, where is the oxidation and where is the reduction? Since there is loss of electrons here, loss of electrons طبعا هو oxidation. And the gain of electrons is the reduction. وبرضه عشان ما نلخبطش نفسنا عشان نوفر وقت POW. يعني ايه POW? Positive anode oxidation, which means an oxidation always takes place at the anode. دايما. طيب, okay. What are the other points that they ask about? They ask about the observations. And whenever they say observation, this is something that you can see. It's not a result. It's different from result. It's something that you can see. Since I have here chlorine, all halogens have colors. Chlorine has yellowish green bubbles. So at the cathode, I'm going to see here yellowish green bubbles. This is because of chlorine. طيب, at the anode, what will be the observation? Sorry, at the cathode, what will be the observation? Since it's metal, يبقى I have gray deposit or gray molten metal, whatever. Are all metals gray in color? Yes. All metals are gray in color except 2. The copper, which is reddish brown, and the gold, which is silver, which is yellow, sorry. Otherwise, all metals are gray in color. Okay, type. What else they are going to ask about? They are going to ask also about the names of products. Names of products. What's my product here? Chlorine. يبقى البرودكت chlorine gas. If your answer was chloride, and this is a very common mistake, the answer will be wrong. It's not chloride. Chloride actually is my reactant. Chlorine is my product. And the product on the other side is the sodium metal. Is this point clear? Any question about this? طيب, okay. This is the molten sodium chloride. خلي بالنا. Sodium chloride, molten, يعني 2 elements, L, liquid. It will break down into sodium and chlorine. بس كده. The last question that I was asking about electric heater. Why did I use electric heater and not flame? Electric heater because sodium chloride is an ionic compound which has very high boiling point. The flame, our Bunsen burner, will not give me the required temperature. إنما electric heater will give me the required temperature. This is paper 6. Another question. Graphite, the electrodes are made up of graphite because of the reasons that your friend mentioned. Graphite is non-metal. There was a question in the past paper. What else can the electrodes be made of but metal? I have the platinum. Platinum is a metal, but it's also unreactive. It's inert and conducts electricity. So the electrodes can be made up of graphite or platinum. Another question. What is the type of particles that can pass through the wires? طبعا these are the wires. And the type of particles that pass through the solution. Particles, when they mention the particles, they're talking about ions or electrons. So which one of them is passing through the wires? طبعا electrons. And which one of them is passing through the liquid? Ions. ليه ions؟ لأن أنا عندي هنا ions. هو اللي حصل إيه أصلا؟ اللي حصل إن أنا as I passed electricity through my liquid, the chloride ions are attracted to the anode. They lost their electrons. أهو إحنا لسه قايلين they lost their electrons. And then they passed through the wires, going to the other electrode. I have electrons here. Sodium will be attracted and it will gain these electrons, giving sodium metal. This is what happened. طيب, according to what I said, there is one observation left. I wrote 2 observations. Yellowish green bubbles, gray deposit. The third observation that's left, since I have bulb or light here, when electrons pass through the bulb, what will happen? The bulb lights up. Okay? So this is the part related to the molten sodium chloride or molten ionic compound. طيب, if the ionic compound was not molten, if it was aqueous, يعني dissolved in water, I'm going to move to another slide. So if you want to take a picture, you can take it now. Actually, if I'm going to use the aqueous, it can be concentrated or diluted. Let's take both cases and see what's the difference. Here, I'm going to use the concentrated aqueous solution of sodium chloride. يعني between brackets, state symbol aqueous, ما ننساش دي. It has another name, which is called brine. Brine is its industrial name. It has many uses in industry, as we're going to see now. The same point, I have my electrodes, my battery, my bulb, and my solution. بصوا بقى هنا. لما يجي أي question about electrolysis and its aqueous, please اعملوا اللي هقول لكم عليه. ده هيسهل عليكم كتير جدا. تعالوا كده على جنب واكتبوا عندي الأنود وعندي الكاثود. أهو ده طبعا الأنود وعندي ده الكاثود. وطبعا I have here my aqueous sodium chloride. طيب, what are the ions that I have? طبيعي ان انا عندي طبعا sodium ion and chloride ion. طيب, الصوديوم ion will be attracted للكاثود. ليه؟ علشان الكاثود ده negative electrode. فالصوديوم ion positive will be attracted. هكتبه تحت. طيب, and the anode, which is the positive electrode, chloride will be attracted to the anode. What else? Do I have more ions? Yes. Since it's aqueous, يبقى I also have the ions of water. يبقى أنا عندي sodium chloride and water. طيب, هو الووتر ده أصلا covalent compound. هو covalent compound، بس في نوع من أنواع covalent compound اسمه polar covalent compounds. دي مش عندكم. It can be broken down into ions أو charges. خلينا نقول charges. اللي علينا بس الووتر. فالwater can break down into hydrogen and hydroxide. طيب, يبقى which one of them will be attracted to the cathode? طبعا الهيدروجين ion. And the hydroxide will be attracted to the anode. أنا هنا بقى عندي competition. كل electrode عنده 2 ions. One of them only will be discharged. يعني إيه discharge؟ Discharge يعني will lose its charge. تعالوا كده نرجع السلايد الأولانية. هو ايه اللي حصل هنا؟ They lost their charges. They changed to atoms or molecules. يبقى they were discharged. هنا في السلايد دي أنا عندي one of each two. One only is going to be discharged. طيب according to what? According to rules. The rule that's related to the cathode says that the one that's less reactive will be discharged first. يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ يعني ايه less reactive؟ عندي حاجة اسمها reactivity series. Na, and then hydrogen, copper, silver, gold. ده المفروض في الشابتر بتاع metals and reactivity series. They said that, or the rule states that any element above the hydrogen is more reactive than hydrogen. طيب تمام. Any element below the hydrogen is less reactive. The rule of the electrolysis says that the metal أو the ion that's less reactive will be discharged first. طيب أنا عندي هنا صوديوم وعندي الهيدروجين. Which one of them is less reactive؟ طبعا الهيدروجين. فالهيدروجين will be discharged. هنروح عاملين عليه circle. طيب on the other side عندي برضه competition ما بين الكلورايد والهيدروكسيد ودول negative anions. واحد منهم أصلا non-metal. يبقى they do not follow the rule of the cathode. They have their own rule. بس عشان نسهل الرول لأنها شوية أنا شايفة إن هي complicated، هنبص هنا. والله لو هو concentrated، يعني إيه كلمة concentrated؟ يعني more solute in the solvent. يعني عندي a lot of solute in solvent. يعني معناها إن الكلورايد كتير قوي. فلو هو concentrated يبقى الكلورايد will be discharged. طب أمال الأوبشن التاني if it's diluted، لو هو diluted يبقى الهيدروكسيد will be discharged. يبقى تاني أول لما يجيب لي الأكويس سوليوشنز على جنب بليز اكتبوا كاثود وأنود واكتبوا الأينز اللي عندكم، وبعدين ابتدوا اسألوا نفسكم هل الميتال دي is more reactive ولا less reactive than hydrogen according to the rule إنه less reactive will be discharged first. واعملوا عليها circle عادي مفيش أي مشكلة. On the other side if it's concentrated يبقى الاناين اللي هنا whatever the anion was كلورايد برومايد أو كده، لأن أنا هيبقى عندي يا إما دول هالايدز يا إما الهيدروكسيد will be discharged first. يبقى أنا عرفت إنه عند الأنود الكلورايد واللوز برضو 2 لأنه diatomic واللوز its electrons giving chlorine. إنما عند الكاثود المرة دي هيبقى مختلف. عندي الهيدروجين will gain electrons giving hydrogen gas. طيب question أنا ليه عملت 2؟ لأن برضو الهيدروجين diatomic زيه زي الكلورين. عن الداياتوميكس اللي عندي اللي هم كلورين، فلورين، برومين، ايودين، اكسجين، نيتروجين، هيدروجين. لازم نحفظهم 7 دول. they exist as diatomics. they will never exist as single atoms نهائي. تمام. طيب اوكي، مين الاكسيديشن ومين الريدكشن؟ loss of electrons عند الانود يبقى ده الاكسيديشن وانا مغمضه على طول، وهنا الريدكشن. another question observations نفس الكلام since it's chlorine يبقى طبيعي هيبقى yellowish green vapors. طيب what about the other side؟ أنا عندي هنا جاز، الهيدروجين ده جاز، يبقى هنا الobservation عمرها ما هتكون metal. لا أنا عندي برضو الobservation هنا، معلش أنا هكتبها كده عشان مش عايزة أمسح دي، هتبقى colorless bubbles. الهيدروجين طبعا جاز فهيدي بابلز، بس البابلز دي colorless ملهاش اي لون. طب انا اعرف منين انه هيدروجين؟ دي حته من acids and bases. how to test for hydrogen؟ بال it pops, it gives a popping sound. اوكي ما علينا، دي مش البوينت بتاعتنا دلوقتي. طيب what are my products؟ هنا بقى مهم قوي الحته دي. ايه البرودكتس اللي عندي هنا؟ عندي اول حاجه كلورين، تمام، وعندي هيدروجين. خلصت؟ لا، مش أنا already لما الهيدروجين was discharged والكلورايد was discharged اتبقى عندي 2 ions تانيين، هم ما سابوش الليكويد، هم لسه موجودين جوه. هيبقى عندي برودكت تالت اسمه صوديوم هيدروكسيد. يبقى أنا البراين أو الكونسنتريتد aqueous صوديوم كلورايد تاني اللي حصل فيه عندي 4 اينز هرسمهم هنا. ادي الصوديوم اين، وادي الكلورايد اين، وادي الهيدروجين اين، وادي الهيدروكسيد اين. اللي حصل انه الصوديوم was attracted to the cathode، وكمان الهيدروجين، لان هم they have opposite charges. هم attracted على فكره، مش one of them will be attracted، لا both will be attracted، بس هيحصل competition عند الالكترود. والكلورايد will be attracted والهيدروكسيد، وزي ما قلنا الهيدروجين will win وهنا الكلورايد will win. فضل لي الصوديوم اين والهيدروكسيد اين. كان في question في الباست papers سأل الصوديوم هيدروكسيد is formed at which electrode. The answer is they are formed here at sodium hydroxide. طب ليه؟ ازاي؟ مش هو المفروض في السوليوشن؟ ما احنا قلنا ان الصوديوم was attracted، فالصوديوم فضل لازق عند الالكترود ما اتحركش، وعشان هو very strong في الشارج بتاعته فإت attracted الهيدروكسيد، فبالتالي الصوديوم هيدروكسيد was formed here. فعشان كده البرودكتس بتاعتي كلورين وهيدروجين وصوديوم هيدروكسيد. البراين ده this is its industrial name. It's used in industry to produce chlorine، لأن الكلورين ليها استعمالات كتير جدا، والهيدروجين والصوديوم هيدروكسيد. Each one of them is important in industry. طبعا الصوديوم هيدروكسيد in making soaps، الهيدروجين in making ammonia وحاجات تانية كتير، بس this is not our point now. والكلورين ده أصلا bleaching agent وبيستعمل for chlorination of water to kill microbes and bacteria. Okay؟ طيب ده بالنسبة للconcentrated. طيب لو ما كانش concentrated، لو هو diluted، برضو صوديوم كلورايد aqueous يعني in water، بس المرة دي هو diluted. تعالوا كده نشوف، خلاص احنا قربنا خلاص. diluted aqueous صوديوم كلورايد، ما اسموش براين بقى المرة دي، هو اسمه عادي diluted aqueous صوديوم كلورايد. عندي برضو الالكتروليتيك سيل نفس بالظبط كل حاجة، وعندي الباتري والبالب. طبعا هنا برضو the bulb lights up، ما دام الالكترونز passed يبقى the bulb lights up. وعندي برضو هنا ده الانود وده الكاثود. طيب اوكي، نفس اللي عملته هناك، اجي على جنب في كل الكويستشنز لازم اجي على جنب. انا عندي اهو الانود وهو الكاثود. طيب what are the ions that I have؟ انا عندي صوديوم كلورايد aqueous يعني water، يبقى أنا عندي هنا صوديوم أين وهيدروجين أين، وعندي هنا كلورايد أين وهيدروكسيد أين. At the cathode the rule says the one that's less reactive will be discharged first. طيب مين ال less reactive؟ طبعا الهيدروجين. At the anode لقيت diluted، يبقى ده معناه very small amount of chloride، يبقى الهيدروكسيد هو اللي will be discharged، وهو ده الفرق ما بينهم. يبقى تاني لو concentrated يبقى الهالايد هو اللي بي discharged، انما if it's diluted هيبقى الهيدروكسيد is the one that will be discharged. خلاص اوكي، هروح بقى هنا عند الكاثود، عندي الهيدروجين is going to gain 2 electrons giving hydrogen gas. طب on the other side هي equation ثابته بتاعت الهيدروكسيد بتتحفظ كده، الفور hydroxide ions will give oxygen plus 2 water molecules plus 4 electrons. طبعا عايزين تقولوا لي ايه plus 4 electrons هنا؟ ما هي هنا كانت minus، هو زي الماث، الماينس دي انا ممكن اخدها to the other side تبقى بالبلس، يعني دي انا ممكن اكتبها كده وممكن اكتبها كده. both are correct. طيب حلو قوي. تعالوا نبص على ال observations، لان هنا بقى هتختلف. ال observations هنا ايه وال observations هنا ايه؟ انا عندي هنا water يبقى مفيش اي حاجه فارقه. طب في ايه اكسجين؟ اكسجين ده جاز، يبقى عندي هنا colorless bubbles. طب on the other side hydrogen، ده برضو عندي colorless bubbles. خدتوا بالكم انا في ال observation ما كتبتش names observation تاني. This is a very common mistake. Means what can you see? I don't need names. I just need something that you can see. قلت colorless bubbles. مش هقول oxygen bubbles. Oxygen bubbles غلط. أيوة، إيه الدescription بتاعها؟ colorless bubbles. طب دي colorless bubbles ودي colorless bubbles. How can I differentiate them? حين الأكسجين to test for oxygen دي برضه في acids and bases by glowing splint. It relights by glowing splint. يعني إيه relights by glowing splint؟ glowing splint اللي هو لما أجي أنا أكون مولعة كبريت وأطفيه بتفضل الرص اللي فوق red شوية. ده معناه glowing splint. لو عملت كده وحطيته in a jar that contains oxygen it relights. انما الهيدروجين هجيب له lighted splint يعني already مولع، وهحطه في الهيدروجين جاس هيعمل لي popping sound. This is how can I test for both. طيب تمام. بالنسبة للبرودكتس بقى، ايه البرودكتس اللي عندي هنا؟ انا عندي طبعا اكسجين وعندي هيدروجين. طب what's left؟ في ايه تاني فاضل؟ الحقيقة ان في حاجة كمان فاضلة برضو. انتوا لما تعملوا circling شوفوا بقى ايه اللي فاضل. فاضل صوديوم كلورايد. طب ما انا ابتديت بصوديوم كلورايد، فاضل صوديوم كلورايد؟ لا، انا ابتديت بدايليوتد صوديوم كلورايد. اللي حصل انه diluted يعني a large amount of water. Most of the water was electrolyzed turning to oxygen and hydrogen. فالamount of water was decreased. فبالتالي الصوديوم كلورايد اللي موجود اتحول بقى concentrated. وthis is a method of obtaining concentrated sodium chloride. وطبعا هنا ما ننساش نقول ان البالب لايتس. طيب هو ايه اللي حصل؟ يعني برضو ازاي ده حصل كل ده؟ نفس الكلام. انا عندي صوديوم ايون وعندي كلورايد ايون، معلش هي هتنزل تحت شويه، هيدروجين ايون وهيدروكسيد ايون. صوديوم وهيدروجين will be attracted here. والكلورايد والهيدروكسيد will be attracted here. بس one of them only will be discharged زي ما قلنا. الهيدروكسيد it will lose its electrons. فالإلكترونز أهو هتطلع تمشي فوق في الوايرز. It will pass through the bulb. That's why the bulb lights up. And then it goes to the other electrode where they are gained by the other ion. هو ده بالظبط اللي بيحصل. وده الفرق عندي ما بين ال concentrated and the diluted. طبعا هتلاقوا في النوتس في examples كتير وفي شرح أكتر. أنا بس اتكلمنا briefly عن الموضوع. الإلكتروليسيس بليز عموما، يعني سواء كملنا أو ما كملناش، لما تيجوا تذاكروا الإلكتروليسيس بالذات لو الكويستشنز concentrated أو diluted، لو عملتوا الطريقة دي مش هتتلخبطوا أبدا. الإلكتروليسيس مش صعب، عايز بس تنظيم أفكار، تنظيم طريقة إجابة مش أكتر. فأنا عشان أنظم طريقتي أنا لازم أشوف what will be attracted at the anode, what will be attracted at the cathode, and which one of them will be discharged. Once عملتوا كده هتعرفوا ال half ionic equation that they always ask about. You will know the observations, you will know the products, you will know what is oxidation, you will know what is reduction. Last point. Electrolysis is considered معلش هرجع للسلايد اللي فاتت. It's considered endothermic reaction. ليه endothermic reaction? Because it takes in electric energy and converted into chemical energy. ما هي عشان تبتدي I have first to pass electricity. فابتديت بelectric energy passed طلعت لي chemical energy. هو دول chemicals اللي طالعين فطلعت لي chemical energy. كمان هي تعتبر redox reaction. ليه redox؟ لأن في loss of electrons and gain of electrons. كمان تعتبر decomposition reaction. decomposition by electricity. ليه احنا بنقول كده؟ عشان هيجي يقول لكم مثلا according to the energy change what is the type of reaction. ما دام قال energy change يبقى هو عايز يعرف endothermic ولا exothermic. طيب جه قال لي بس what is the type of reaction. redox صح و decomposition صح، الاثنين صح. اوكي في ايه تاني؟ طبعا ال colors of halides. انا عندي الكلورين yellowish green، عندي البرومين reddish brown، وعندي الايودين purple violet. Do you have to memorize the colors? Yes, you have to memorize the colors. الفلورين we don't usually work with the fluorine because it's highly explosive. يعني usually we don't work with. وهي دي بس الهالايدز اللي عندي، او هي دي هتكون اللي عند attracted to the anode. I think إنه خلاص إحنا كده we mentioned the most important part. We will go back again to the notes best to show you the part that we did. Okay. This is the electrolytic cell. في كلمة electrolyte. Electrolyte is the liquid that is broken down into its element by passing electricity through it. liquid يعني molten أو يكون aqueous. يبقى الإلكترولايت ده يا إما يكون المolten liquid أو aqueous liquid. When I pass electricity through it, it's broken down into its ions. يعني من الآخر كده a liquid that conducts electricity هو ده الإلكترولايت. وهنا في examples. sulfuric acid, any acid is considered electrolyte. ليه؟ لأنه الأسيد ده أصلا عبارة عن proton donor اللي هو الهيدروجين and anion كاتاين واناين. طيب المولتن للبروميد، الليبروميد ده ionic compound. فيس since it's molten يبقى it can conduct electricity. إنما لو كان solid it will not conduct electricity. طيب عندي الأثانول according to the organic. لا، الأثانول ده molecule. It's an covalent compound. Covalent compounds do not conduct electricity because they have no charges. Petrol, paraffin, كل دول organic compounds. طيب what about molten sulfur? well, sulfur non-metal. Whether it was molten or aqueous, whatever هو أصلا is insoluble in water, it will not conduct electricity عشان there are no free charges. طيب sugar solution نفس الكلام. No free charges. يبقى دي طبعا distilled water لأنه what causes the charges in water هي actually metals أو ions that's found in water. Distilled water يعني purified water يعني just H2O. it will not conduct electricity. بعد كده عندنا أهو ده المولتن. هنا colors بس to show you what's happening. وهنا في table في examples if you want. إيه هي examples at the anode and at the cathode. You can practice this. وعندي aqueous هنا بقى using carbon electrodes. فين اوكي. عندي concentrated اهو. وبعدين ده table مكتوب فيه البرودكتس والobservation وكل الكلام ده. وبعدين عندي بعدها هنا طبعا uses of sodium hydroxide وكلورين وهيدروجين، وهنا diluted والفرق ما بينهم هما الاثنين. بس كده. I hope you like the session. أهم حاجة عندي إن أنتوا don't hate electrolysis. أنا مش عارفة ليه معظم students الحقيقة they hate electrolysis. والله it's not difficult. هو بس عايز organize your ideas to find the answer. إن شاء الله تلاقوه سهل. وبالتوفيق للجميع. Thank you so much. السلام عليكم.